Hello everyone. This flip video is for those of you who missed the information in class today. We are going to talk about absolute values of rational numbers. Absolute values are, we've already talked about this, one of the vocabulary words. So before you get started on this, complete that review it section right up here. Use your notes if you need to. Pause the video if you need to. And we'll go over those in class. Then we need to start on the know it section. This is the information that is new and that you need to learn. We want to find absolute value. To find the absolute value, we know the absolute value is the distance from 0. So on the number line, we are going to count the units that our number is from 0. So looking at some of our examples, we have 5, -5, 12, and -12. Once you've counted the units from 0, you also need to check for the negative number before the absolute value. Absolute value is like a grouping symbol, kind of like parentheses. And we know from PEMDAS that we would do the parentheses part first. So whenever you see an absolute value and it has a negative in front of it, like this example, we're going to treat the absolute value as a grouping symbol and do that portion first, and then we'll talk about the negative. So let's do some of our examples again together. So we have the absolute value of 5. How far is 5 from 0? What is that distance? So we will go to 0 and we will count the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are 5 away from 0. Let's try -5. Again, the distance from 0. Here's -5, and we want to know how far away -5 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5 is also 5 units away. So the absolute value of -5 is also 5. Absolute values will always be positive. So trying negative absolute value of 12. Again, we want to do the absolute value part of this problem first. That negative on the front is actually like a -1. We just don't see it, times 12. So when we do this problem, we do the parentheses first, the grouping part, which is absolute value, and the absolute value of 12. Let's count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the absolute value of 12 is 12. But now we have this negative out front, which is like times -1. And a negative times a positive is still a negative. So that will still be a -12. Now remember, absolute value is positive. This is not a negative absolute value. The absolute value of 12 is a positive 12. The only reason this is negative is because the negative sign outside of the absolute value bars. So now we have a negative absolute value of -12. So let's take the absolute value of 12 first, which if we count the distance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's -12. So the distance from 0 is 12, but we have that negative, so that becomes -12. Again, absolute value is positive, not negative. The only reason this is a negative is because there is a negative outside of the absolute value bars. So now let's compare our numbers. We have the absolute value of -3. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to 5? First thing you do is change any of absolute values. The absolute value of -3 is 3. 5 is 5, so we know that 5 3 is less than 5. The absolute value of negative 7. How far is negative 7 from the 0? It is 7 units away. And then we have 4.2. Which one of those numbers is greater? The absolute value of negative 7 is greater than 4.2. Let's try 4.5, or actually 4/5, and negative 9/10. The absolute value of 4/5 is 4/5. There is no need, I know we've been working on conversions, but there's no need to convert it into a decimal because this is already in a fraction. So we could compare fractions to fractions. The absolute value of negative 9/10, how far is 9/10 from 0? Negative 9/10 from 0? It is 9/10 units away. But we have unlike denominators. So let's make an equivalent fraction for 4/5 by multiplying it by 2. Now we can make a comparison because we have like denominators. And 9/10 is greater than 4/5. So when you first look at it, you might want to say that the absolute value of 4/5 is greater because you see this negative sign, but you need to take the absolute value of both the numbers first and then make your comparisons. So